A missile of unknown origin heading toward the United States. Only 19 minutes to prevent disaster and a decision that could unleash the Third World War. Today I summarize A House of Dynamite. I hope you like it. Everything begins with a routine day at the White House, where we meet Olivia Walker, the captain in charge of monitoring nuclear threats. Although since the agreement signed after the Cold War, the use of missiles is limited and everything seems to be under control as always. But what Olivia does not expect is that those international agreements are crumbling and their end is approaching imminently. Just a few hours after starting the shift, Major Daniel Gonzalez in the anti-missile battalion room detects the launch of an intercontinental missile from the Pacific of unknown origin, so immediately all the military personnel mobilize to discover who launched it. However, Gonzalez, upon analyzing the trajectory, concludes that it is a weapons test by North Korea, since it matches a similar one carried out previously and it will fall into the Sea of Japan. So they hurry to alert the Strategic Command General Anthony Brady, who organizes a video call with Captain Olivia and other high-ranking officials to manage the situation. And although for a moment they breathe a sigh of relief after observing that it is only a test, soon Major Gonzalez realizes something. The speed has changed and now the projectile is heading toward the United States. So Brady informs the high-ranking officials again about the high-risk situation. The missile will hit the continent in 19 minutes, which leaves everyone shocked, incredulous before something that seems impossible. But Olivia immediately orders contacting the Secretary of Defense, Reed Baker, and the President of the United States. At that moment the DEFCON 2 alert level is activated, which indicates preparation for a war. And the crisis room considers that the threat could come from North Korea or China, in addition to the fact that it seems Russia knew about that attack. Then, the military are ordered to prepare the launch of defensive missiles from the ground, while General Brady points out that the most likely impact cities are near Chicago. Therefore they authorize the launch of the first 2 defensive systems and Jake Barrington, Deputy National Security Advisor, proposes to the President to contact the analyst Anna Park, a North Korea specialist, to find out the country's intentions, since unusual activity was apparently detected in the demilitarized zone. After that, they begin evacuating some high-ranking officials to the White House emergency bunker. But the anti-missile battalion discovers that one of its defensive projectiles did not fully deploy and will not reach the target. So William Davis, the senior chief petty officer, panics, but Olivia calms him down by reminding him that they have 50 more defensive missiles and that just one will be enough for that nightmare to end in only 1 minute. However, when that time passes, the interception fails and everyone begins to sound the alarm by declaring DEFCON 1, the maximum alert of imminent war. In addition, the trajectory confirms that the missile will strike Chicago, and Kathy Rogers, an official at FEMA, warns that this would cause the death of more than 10 million people. At that moment, Olivia asks Davis to retrieve their cell phones, which are always kept locked away before the shift, and she contacts her husband telling him that he must flee the city with their son without asking questions. She is sure that the plan is to allow the impact in the city and wait in case there were a second enemy attack. So holding hands they wait for the impact when suddenly we go back in time and change perspective. Now we follow General Brady at a secret strategic command base where they notify him of the sighting of the missile and Brady confirms its imminent impact in the United States. At that moment is when he orders the launch of the defensive missiles, although Jake Barrington warns them that they only hit in 60% of cases. So after that they transfer Jake to the White House emergency bunker, where they manage to contact Anna Park, a North Korean analyst. She explains that it is very likely to be North Korea, since they need humanitarian aid and are seeking to blackmail them. Although Russia and China are not far behind, since lately they collaborate more together. So she asks from where the missile was launched, but when they tell her that they still have not identified it, she is in shock. It is possible that the enemy has infiltrated their security systems and that it is a coordinated attack, perhaps using artificial intelligence, after some recent tests carried out by China. Then, after hanging up, they wait for their defensive missile to detonate the threat, but that does not happen, in addition to detecting a mobilization of forces in several enemy countries, so General Brady raises 2 options. Pray that it has all been a heap of errors and there is no coordinated attack. Or counterattack provoking a global nuclear war, since they are about to lose a city. The latter is the option the president wishes to avoid, so when the Russian minister makes contact, he orders Jake to take the call. Then Jake confirms that Russia and China are not involved and attempts a non-aggression pact, but the minister only tells him that he must consult it. So when the president must decide what to do, counterattack or allow the impact without acting, we go back again and change perspective. Now we do follow the president, who during a basketball event receives the missile alert, so they hurry to evacuate him immediately and put him in contact with Reed Baker, where both panic before the gravity of the situation. Minutes later, Jake and Anna Park inform him about the countries that could be involved and their possible causes. And after observing the failure of the defensive missile, they activate DEFCON 1. At this point, General Brady insists to the president on following one of the offensive protocols established at maximum alert, since the enemies are mobilizing in a disturbing way and only 6 minutes remain for Chicago to disappear completely from the map. And while that happens, Reed Baker calls his daughter in the city for the last time, unable to warn her. Next, they transfer the president to a secure helicopter so that he can decide whom to attack and with what force, although this also contemplates the possibility of not acting if everything was a mistake, since an attack would provoke worldwide chaos. At that moment he compares the United States to a house full of dynamite, since it is protected, but it is vulnerable, and Lieutenant Commander Robert Reeves insists that he choose between two of the most offensive options they designed. So the president contacts Baker so that he can give his opinion, but he throws himself from a building at the thought of his daughter's imminent death. So when getting in touch again with Jake, he reports that Russia and China deny their responsibility, and he tries to convince him that this attack only seeks to provoke the United States to respond and that their enemies take advantage to destroy them. So he recommends not counterattacking and praying that the warhead does not detonate and that it has only been a decoy. Amid so much tension and doubts, the president takes a few seconds to think and calls his wife to inform her of the situation and seek her help. However, the signal is cut, so the president has no choice but to verify his identity with a command card. And just when he is going to make his decision, the movie ends. That is right. The movie stops just before the impact in Chicago and before the president's final decision, who is torn between not acting or starting a total nuclear war. Although it is not shown what happens next because its screenwriter, Noah Oppenheim, wants the viewer to feel the real uncertainty of a world where a single decision can trigger the end. A bit frustrating for some like me, but others say it is the perfect closure to prioritize psychological suspense over the typical movies loaded only with action. I do not know, Noah Oppenheim, you could make a part 2. But well, that is the story for today, and that is the summary, my friend. Leave your like and subscribe. You help me a lot that way. Put in the comments what you thought of this plot. And now yes, I take my leave. Until next time.